Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Sunday Soul Club with your hosts Kate and Elly. I am Kate and I am a psychic medium and kinesiologist from Adelaide, South Australia.
And my name is Elly and I am not a medium or psychic, but I am a deep seeker and love talking about all these amazing topics. So today we thought we'd bring you and we're going to touch base on the psychic deep dive. Me and Kate have known each other for a few years now, and the reason for this podcast is
because we just always naturally go into these very, very deep conversations about everything. We just are not capable of having a superficial conversation.
I wish we were. We're not. Absolutely.
And so we wanted to invite you guys along for the ride as well. So as we explore the things that we're interested in, we hope you might find it interesting too, where we talk about things along the lines of psychic or mediumship, intuition, consciousness, and
all the amazing things. Like there's nothing else to talk about. Anyway, everyone, if you love this kind of content, please, if it feeds your soul, please like and subscribe to our channel. And without further ado, we're going to start on our third podcast, which is diving deep into psychic.
I love this topic.
Now, this is your main arena, basically, the starting ground for your main arena.
Absolutely. And you know, the thing about this is that this is who I always have been. It's just this has only been something I've come out of the closet with in the last couple of years. But this has always been what I am, and I just never understood that other people didn't have this experience that I have.
Yes. Wow. Amazing. And what is psychic, Kate?
Well, you know how we've talked about intuition, and that's about the listening to ourself, the way that our soul, a higher self, or spirit guides and things interact. That is almost a spectrum, okay? So what happens with psychic is we've got our intuition and we're listening to ourselves and we know our yes and we know our no, and we're starting to get really, really confident with what it feels like when we receive communication. Psychic is going a little bit further.
Yeah.
So it's receiving that extra more precise or attuned communication that we get and we receive through the soul. So, you know, when people go along to a psychic reading, they wait to hear about particular topics. You know, love lives and romance is always number one, and careers and finances, family, health. And so it's being more attuned how to receive and pick up that information.
Yeah, wow. So would you say that being psychic is the next evolution from intuition? They're quite connected?
Absolutely. And you know, the thing is though, we do it all the time without even realizing. Yeah. We just don't direct it, or we just don't use awareness, because you know, the bit that I always tell people, because I know you know this one, every single time we go into the party and we're like, oh, that person feels like the total vibe. Yeah. And you know me, like I'm always looking for the fun person. Yeah. And the other person is like, oh, it's a bit lower and the Debbie Downer. Yeah. We're not asking any of them about their lives. We just know what the feeling is.
Absolutely.
That is psychic. It is you receiving from them where they are at.
Amazing. I never thought that that was psychic, because it's really just tuning into an energy, reading a room's energy. Or reading a person's energy.
Yeah.
And that's psychic.
My husband always hated going house hunting with me, because we would just pull up somewhere and I'm like, I ain't walking into that house. He goes, what's wrong with it? It's really nice. It's a really good price. I'm like, no, I'm not going to walk into that house. I don't like it. I don't like the way that it feels. It feels really uncomfortable. It's cold. It's heavy. It's gross. I only walk into houses that are really light and airy and bright. Yeah. And so, you know, that is us using our psychic every day.
Yeah, amazing. Can you tell me when you knew you were a psychic and medium? You mentioned that you sort of always had it, and
do you know,
this was the pinnacle?
This is one of those things that I didn't really get it until around 2017. I always knew it about myself, but people will probably laugh or you'll think this seems ridiculous, but I had no awareness that other people didn't know how to feel the world the way that I do.
Yeah.
And so all the things that I had, I just always made assumptions that other people would experience it the way that I do.
Yeah.
So, you know, I used to, because for me in particular, like I'm so empath psychic, so I feel people's feelings. So I could never understand why people were mean to people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'm like, surely that person knows how that person feels.
Yes.
Surely. So it really wasn't until I was in my late 30s that I'm like, oh, other people don't actually feel all of the feelings of everybody else.
Yes.
I didn't really realize that. I realized they didn't see energy the way that I see it.
Yeah.
They see their own experience and they see it differently, but they didn't see the world the way that I did.
Is that part of being an empath too? Is a psychic and empath quite connected? Not to say that someone that's not empathic can be psychic, but are they related?
I think they really are. And especially like the way that I work, there are psychics who are very, very attuned, because if we think of psychic as to where we attune it to, right? I'm relational by nature. So it is all about feelings. It is all about what that person feels like. How do they feel? If I talk like this, how do they respond to me? So that's really, really strong in me. And so in a lot of the empaths of the world will have a lot of feelings like that.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not to say you can't. You can actually be psychic without a huge amount of feelings as well. You just don't feel the world that way.
Because I have to be quite honest, there's quite a few famous and psychic mediums that I would say are kind of, I can't really say it on camera, but like, not that nice.
Yeah.
And almost act like, because I'm a medium, you need to worship me because I know something you don't know and I need to put on this pedestal. And it's kind of, it's kind of scary. So there's that sort of taboo about a psychic and medium that they're so different from everyone else. So
yeah, absolutely. But really, I think the thing is within the psychic, it's almost what you attune it to. And so my natural personality is about people and animals and feeling and saying kindness. So therefore, that's the way that I work.
Yeah.
And, as you would know, like even when I'm working with the spirit world, that's what my entrance is. What do they feel like to me? What is their personality like? Who were they? Yeah. I'm not necessarily going to have the perfect name or the address, all those things, because I can describe who they are as a person, because that's what I can feel really well.
Yeah, that's where you're tuned in. Mm-hmm. And I remember I mentioned it on one of our previous episodes, the first couple of times we were just talking and having deep conversations, and you started reading my mum. You were telling me the most profound things that no one would have even known, and I just like literally couldn't stop crying. And it was so profound. So tell me what it's been like. What does it feel like to be a psychic and medium? What is your world like? Do you talk to dead people? What does that look like in your world?
So, this is the thing, right? You have to remember that I grew up in the shores of Auckland in New Zealand, and we lived in an older house, and all I actually have recollections of is the spirit world. Yeah. And at the time, so I'm clairsentient, I'm strong in my feelings. Yeah. And so I would feel the spirit world around me all the time. Right. And my mum would always say I was a child who never slept, and I didn't because I was scared. So sometimes I would see them and sometimes I would feel them, and there would just be a knowing that they were there. And so I have only ever had that experience. Right. So I kind of don't know what it feels like for other people not to, but I only ever know I only ever know that that's my experience. I've never known the feeling of not feeling something.
So it's really, instead of seeing Uncle John who passed away and he's got a hat on and a big nose and he swears, and you're more feeling it. You're not necessarily seeing Uncle John walk into a room.
No, and that's right. So the first entrance in is always the feeling. I can feel them coming close. I can feel their personality. I can feel all of, who they are, and are their intentions really loving, or are they a bit of an angry person, or are they a bit of a jovial clown? And, who are they? So I feel them first. I certainly can see, so after feelings, I would be clairvoyant. Okay. So I see, but I build the connection through my feelings, and then the rest of it starts to come. So a lot of the time, if I was working in my room, I will see the spirit world walking around, and it's not like seeing it with your eyes. Right. It's almost like you're seeing it with your soul. So when you look at things clairvoyantly, it's almost like I am saying to you, I want you to come up with an imagination, and I want you just to see, a beautiful Dalmatian dog walking down the street. And as the Dalmatian dog is walking down the street, you see a red car and it drives right past him. And in the car is a little boy and he's wearing a yellow raincoat. As you can kind of visualize that image with it's there and you know it's there and you can see the colors and you're going to make out some of the detail. It's not going to be with perfect clarity.
Yeah, sure.
So that's what it is the spirit world looks like for me. Or even if I'm just working psychically and not mediumistically, if I'm seeing something that, you know, if I see somebody who's really angry, for example, I feel the anger first and I'll see the colors later.
Yeah, right.
So they're coming through, but they're just not coming through in exactly the way that people think.
Yeah, wow. So fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I remember Kate does, for our viewers that don't know, an incredible course called Tuning In with Kate. And she will probably be running some more of those in the future. But anyway, the first time I've ever seen a psychic or medium stand up on stage and do a cold reading was you. And it was quite exciting for me too, because hopefully I'm one of your best friends and I love you so much. But I'd never seen you do that before. In fact, I've never seen anyone do that before. It's something that, you know, you watch John Edwards or, you know, they get on stage or, you know, the lady, you know, with the big hairdo.
Oh,
you know, the Long Island medium.
The Long Island medium, yes.
And you're like, oh my God, wow. Like, you know, and then your husband's like, this is rigged. You know, shut up. Don't pop my bubble. But I saw you get on stage and it's amazing because I saw the human side of you, which was you're a beautiful human who then, when she got up on stage, started to profusely sweat. And I was like, oh my God. And no one else could tell, but I could tell because I was like, you know, with you. Because obviously something was starting to happen and you were starting to channel things in the room and you got up and I'll never forget you read lots of different things that day, but one of the most profound things that you read was, okay, who was 10 years old and used to own a big male horse and got taken away? I can see this big horse. Who is it? And this one person goes, me. She goes, great. And then started channeling this horse. This horse is here and this is what he looks like and he's here to tell you that it's okay that he went away. And I mean, it was profound. Like people were almost in tears. And then you did it again with someone's mother who had just passed. You don't know any, like, you know, some people, like you didn't know anything. It was, and she does this. She's a nurse. And you know, to be in that energy and to see that live, you have to see it yourself to believe it, that this is another dimension. This is something that is real.
And we can communicate it with it all the time, but for some reason it's woo-woo. But even just to describe that, because I do really remember that, because I remember the one you're talking about because I was working with the mum with her feelings. Like I felt really, really strong feelings. Yeah. And sometimes I remember she was saying the name. She said a name or some words, or she would say a few little phrases and things. But I do just remember seeing the horse standing at the back of the room.
Yeah, he was in the corner of the room.
The horse wasn't even trying to get my attention. He's just there waiting for his opportunity to come through because for some reason the person who was in the audience there needed some healing around that because that was his pet and it had moved on. And I know he wanted to talk about, the horse wanted to share that he had passed over and, you know, a little bit about how he passed and things like that, but they want to come through too. But that was a perfect example of not necessarily knowing what the mum that I was working with looked like, but I was really, really clear on the horse.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just absolutely profound to see. For the audience that are sort of new to psychic and mediumship, I know we're going to delve very deep into mediumship later because it's such a big topic, but now we're just going to, you know, talk about psychic. We touched on intuition and how that's sort of the first porthole of how we can, you know, hear our inner guides and hear our soul. Is everyone psychic if they tune in?
I will say that across the board, if you have a soul, you're psychic.
Wow.
It's that simple. Okay. And I, you know, we talked about some of the well-known psychics and mediums, and you know me, that I feel really upset when people get put on a pedestal, that they're in any which way a guru or they know more than somebody else, because the truth is we all have it. And I have never, now granted, I work in kinesiology and psychic mediumship, so I meet open-minded individuals, but I have never, ever met anyone who didn't say, oh yeah, I definitely had that feeling, but I either ignored it, or I definitely had that feeling and I listened to it. Well, that is using it. Yeah, everybody does that. That's what we have. That's how we've survived. It's the gift that humans have. It's just that there's some moments which it becomes really, really strong. And, you know, I just have it very strongly, probably because I'm very empathetic. So it's developed really strongly in me, and I know how to fine tune and direct it.
Yes.
In a lifetime before kinesiology, I was doing koala rescue because I live up in the hills. And what happened is that was my, I guess, obsession, because as you know me, Elly, you know I get really hyperfixated on things. And in those number of years in my life, it was koalas. And so I was so attuned to the area around me, and all of the koalas in my area I felt were my responsibility. So I would just drive and it would be like, oh, I'm hit by a wall. And when I felt that wall, it meant there was an injured koala or a hurt koala.
Yeah, wow.
And I had to stop the car and I had to find the koala in the area. Yeah. And that has happened that many times to me. Now it doesn't really happen because I'm not attuned to it anymore. I'm attuned to people and their deceased loved ones or whatever paths people have. Now I have a kinesiology lens. But back then when I only used my koala lens, I got to just experience and feel them. Like I remember a time where, you know, God bless my husband for being so compassionate and kind and living with me. But I remember when I could feel the injured koala so badly, and I made him stop the car, and I was just walking around looking for him, and I could feel his pain, and I could feel how upset and hurt and suffering that koala was. I was crying and I'm hysterical, and we're roaming the side. We're looking everywhere. We're looking through bushes. We're searching everywhere. And we did find him, and bless that beautiful koala. He'd been on the ground for a few days. He had a really severely injured arm, so he'd been hungry, and you know we got him to the vet. But you know that is using psychic.
Yeah, amazing.
People who were living, you know, tribal people living in the Amazon or wherever, are tuned to feeling a tiger.
Yeah, absolutely.
A tiger can't sneak up on those people because they feel it first.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Wow. So much to talk about with that. I would say I'm more psychic. I don't have any of the mediumship qualities yet. Not that I am psychic, but I have had a couple of big things in my life where I just totally knew, and it felt stronger than intuition. Is that sort of the bridge between intuition and psychic? We were sort of talking that the intuition is a quiet knowing. Is psychic more from the other side, or is it more just a stronger intuition?
It's a direction outside of yourself. Okay. So if I am just sitting here I am in my own intuition, in my little aura bubble, and I'm just focusing on my own feeling. Okay, I'm thinking of writing this course. What does that feel like? Is that a yes or a no? Or I'm thinking I'm going to do this next time, and is that going to be a yes or a no? Now I'm in my intuition.
Yes.
As soon as I start to move and direct my awareness to start feeling how you feel.
Yes.
Now I'm in psychic. As soon as I start shifting and moving my intuition towards another person or an investment opportunity.
That makes so much sense.
What does that company feel like to me?
Yes,
if I buy shares in that company, will I be successful? Amazing. Yes or no?
Yes.
But now I'm in a stronger psychic state.
Incredible. So that's the psychic coming through. I love that.
And you can use it for anything. You can start to feel, yes, plants have feelings, right? You can feel their stress response, and it is just a stress response, yes or no. More sentient beings like animals, and this is why I'm an animal lover, is because I can always feel their feelings and know that they have them. You know, you can feel where they're at, happy, sad, scared, you know, stressed about the vacuum cleaner. Like, what are the things that they worry about? And with humans, even more complex and many layers over the top of that again, but you can tune into that.
I love that. That is an amazing bridge between intuition and psychic. And I think a lot of our viewers, they're curious and they might want to learn, hey, like maybe I could delve into learning to be a psychic, not to be a phone psychic and make money or anything, but just for their own benefit.
Because I think it's a matter of using it in every single day life.
Yeah.
Like I only know how to follow the feeling.
Yeah.
And so even when people are like, my husband is like, oh, I don't really know if this is a good idea. Like, don't you think we should think about like money and finance and logistics and things that I'm not interested in?
That's right.
Oh, no, I just have this feeling. But how's it going to work? I don't know. I trust to know it'll work out because the feeling feels right for me.
Yeah.
It's all I focus on.
Absolutely. And do you think that in the medium and psychic world, there are a lot of people, because I think I certainly have been a bit scared of it in the past, and we touched base on this before, that there's a lot of scary people with missing teeth and big black hair and black cats and they're mediums and it's all a bit weird. Or we've had experiences with a psychic that's basically full of shit. You know what I mean? Like I remember seeing this psychic years ago saying I'm going to have 7 children. I think I was 35 at the time. I'm like, well, I better hurry up. Like he was a world-renowned psychic in Newtown in Sydney. It took me a year to get in. So, and I'm not saying that, but there are some sort of charlatans. Is there any, for someone that's developing their own psychic ability or they want to have a psychic reading, or is there anything for them to sort of watch out for? And I know what you're going to say. They need to go back to their...
you see, I just answered the question. It's like she can just feel me. That was your psychic already feeling how I'm going to respond.
Yeah.
Because this is the whole reason that I wrote Tuning In. This is the whole thing I teach people. We have to go back to ourselves. Looking for the answer outside of ourselves doesn't work. Because if you think of it, what is my filter? Well, you already know this about me, is that I'm very feeling orientated. I actually don't care about your career. What I want to know, are you happy in your career? This is my lens. But if you had somebody else reading you who was really specific, a really detailed person, they're going to read you through a lens of really specific things. You're going to have 7 children. I see 7. And that's their interpretation. And any which way we look outside of ourselves, we step out of our own power, and I don't like that. The goal in life is to be within our own power, empowerment. But there's risk of error.
Of course.
Because you can't read it perfectly. I only know what my life experience feels like. I only know what things that I'm receiving feel like for me.
Sure.
But there might be a message in it for you, but I don't know how to receive it your way because I'm not you, which is why going back to yourself is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can I practice my psychic more?
Okay. Well, the answer is just to stay in your own intuition and then learn to direct it. And I always think it's really important, especially because, sometimes we both know I don't like flying, but funnily enough, I do like airports. Because there's a whole vast range of different emotions within them. You've got the people like Kate who don't like flying and are nervous and anxious. You've got people who are really happy and excited. They're high ends of the spectrum for emotions. So it's a matter of feeling, what does this person feel like? And you often then get the evidence to reinforce it to you. So any which way that you can read where somebody is at, and then you can get the... You can get the evidence back, because it just doesn't help you if you don't know. I feel like this person's really, really angry. I feel like this person has, mother issues or father issues. I feel like they've just lost their job. If you can't find out and go, oh yeah, I was right, then you can't develop. Yeah,
sure. So you basically need to test it. You need to be curious and test it.
Absolutely. And learn to strengthen the trust.
Yeah, of course.
Because when we're doing Tuning In and you saw me doing the platform work, that's just practice and trust. That's me having a strong belief and trust in my own spirit team that what they give me is going to be useful at that time and they're not going to leave me hanging.
I love to see the human side of you when that happened too, because I know you so well. So there was almost like starstruck because I'd never seen that before. I've seen you do that with me personally, but to see that on a stage with people, that blew me away. But seeing you like overheat completely, I had to put you into the fridge, like, you know, sneak you into the kitchen to put you in the fridge to cool down. Like, when Spirit talks to me, I just overheat. Like, you know, I love that.
And this is actually one of my favorite memories of us now from our friendship is just for the listeners. It was a really hot day. It must have been 34, 35 degrees or something like that. And so it was warm and I was teaching, so it was warm and the air conditioning was average. So, you know, I was already like at a warm temperature. And then when I got really hot and I'm sweating and I'm pouring, and this is what an amazing friend Elly is. She's like, okay, there's an industrial fridge and I'm just going to get in there now. And she pushes me into the fridge and starts to shut the door. So it's just a little wedge. And I'm like, it was the most loved I've ever felt.
So cute.
I just felt all of this love as you're pushing the doors so I could get caught. She's like, we will call you off before you get back out there.
Oh, that was so amazing. Oh, my goodness. I also wanted to touch on, this is a bit of a weird one, but when I was a really little girl, I don't know if I've ever told anyone this before, I might have told you, but I used to see beings walk into the bedroom and I remember being so petrified. But the beings they never had an inside, they were an outline of a man or woman, I guess they were a man. They were outlined like bright and sometimes they were like orange or they had fluorescent lime. I suppose you call it an aura, and they used to walk into my room and I'd be so petrified I'd probably freeze as a 5-year-old and literally like just cry under my bed covers.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had a lot of experiences as a child too. Do you think that when we become older and become more adult, like, you know, we're more in the 3D world, right? I've got to worry about the paycheck and the bills and what top I'm going to buy and does he like me and all that crap that goes on with life. Does a lot of it shut off as, you know, does it close down? Because a lot of people have weird experiences when they're a kid.
Absolutely. Well, I'm certain that what happens is we shut it down.
Okay.
Because when you walk out into the kitchen and you say, hey, Mum, I'm just going to let you know this being walked into the room, but I couldn't see their face, but they were like fluorescent orange and lime green.
Quick 911 psych unit.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, this is the default. Oh, you didn't see anything.
Oh, for sure.
You didn't see anything.
Yeah, it's just your imagination.
It's your imagination. And sometimes there's a lot of fear around that.
Yeah.
I know that my son used to see a man in his room, and because I remembered what it was like when I was a child, he'd be like, oh, Mr. Nobody floats above my bed sometimes and he's really funny and he makes me laugh. And I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. No, you know, I didn't want, I'm like, you know, it could just be, you know, imagination. You can ask him to go away.
Yeah.
I wanted to downplay that for him.
Yeah, sure, to take the fear away a bit.
To take the fear away because he was nervous and I was nervous. And the truth is, it was my nervousness that made him nervous, and I've just been really fine with it. It wouldn't have been a big deal at all because it's really normal in children.
Yeah.
But because remember again, it's the empath and you're highly empathetic. What does everybody think? How does everyone feel about what I'm about to say? And the truth is it challenges a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we close it down because we don't want to have to be ridiculed or, you know, excluded from society. And it's not till you get to, you know, the older age, like, who cares? Who cares?
No one cares about anything. It's so amazing getting older. You just couldn't give I can't say the word. You just don't care.
Yeah, there's not a phone call I want more than you calling me up and going, Kate, I just want to let you know this like fluorescent orange figure just walked in.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh my God, amazing. Take a photo and wave. You'd be so proud.
I'd be so proud.
But it's been so great because in our friendship together, we've been friends for a few years. I wish I've known you since I was 2 years old, but I've watched you evolve from this. Are you talking to dead people? Like, is there something you need to tell me? And then, but, you know, because we became really close and you were, well, actually, yes. And, you know, and telling me all your amazing experiences. And I'm like, wow. And so you've been slowly coming out of the cupboard, even though you've, you know, basically been like this your whole life. How is that feeling now to sort of own it a bit more and being able to get up in a crowd of people and cold read?
It feels actually amazing because it feels authentic.
Yeah.
It feels for so many years. And I mean, I do have done this with clients as well, because sometimes people just want to come for kinesiology, right? Sometimes they just legitimately want kinesiology, and other times they're open to something more, and there's still a filtering process.
Yeah, so you've got to be careful who you kind of, especially if it's in a kinesiology setting, they might not want the psychic or medium.
Not everybody wants it. You know, I'm a kinesiologist first and a psychic medium second in my work, but in life, I'm psychic medium first and I'm kinesiologist second.
Yeah.
And that's truthfully how I would rather live, because that just makes more sense to me. The way that I interpret the world, that is what feels real to me. And I can only do that. You know, if we talk about part of the psychic is seeing, as you saw with the beings who came into your room, seeing auras, that always exists, but not in the way that everyone wants me to see them.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, tell me what color I am. It doesn't look like that for me.
Yeah.
For every... You know, when I'm looking at somebody, everybody has a shade around them. You know that like halo of Jesus?
Yeah.
Right?
Like
and it's
an aura.
an aura, a gold aura. Everybody has that. And that's either white or it's clear or it's gold, and it's always around them.
Yeah, nice.
And I see that with my eyes, with my physical eyes.
Yeah.
But then with my spiritual eyes, if you will, then I get to see more.
Yeah, wow.
And it feels different.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like I can start to see the vastness or the greatness of somebody's energy when they've got a great, strong life force, or the colours come and go. It's actually less important for me. The colours are not as important as the feeling for me. But, you know, so I just like being able to, that's just how I see the world.
Yeah.
So I don't need to pretend, because I don't really care now what other people think.
I love that you don't care. And I think the world, we always talk about it, but I'm so passionate about the world is changing. If you were to come out 10 years ago and say I'm a psychic or medium, it would be, Kate's crazy, I can't really be a friend anymore, it's all really weird. You know, your family would judge you greatly. Not saying that there hasn't been people that judge you that are not on the same sort of, you know, can't accept that. But, you know, things like remote viewing, a lot of people in the spiritual world, remote viewing, the CIA made that up, and that's where, you know, people remote view like pyramids on Mars and, you know, all this, and do this amazing testing. People in our community go, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Like it's not so far out now.
No.
So it's a wonderful time to be a psychic and medium and to talk about your experience, and also help, you know, the listeners and people that are hungry for this information to help them in their life to become their own psychic.
Absolutely. And you know this about me, that I am a serial psychic goer.
Yes, you are. I love that.
For
a psychic needs a psychic, and I love it.
Yeah, and I'm a serial psychic goer for a really different reason than what people think. Because as you know, I don't want anyone to hand over their power, and I'm very uninterested in what they say to me. Yeah. What I'm really
You want to see their skills. You want to see how they do. Yeah.
I like seeing how they receive it. And we've gone to psychics together, and, you know, I'm always interested, because you see how I receive information, which is vastly different to how other people receive information, which is why I think what we're doing and other psychics who are able to talk about this helps our listeners and viewers then feel, how do I get it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I get it through feelings first?
Yes.
Do I see the color? I've got clients who see such beautiful colors first.
Wow.
But they can't get the feeling around it.
Yeah, wow.
You know, so what way do they get it?
Yeah.
Because we can't make the assumption that we all just get it one way.
Yeah.
I get it the way that I get it. And the way that I see the world is unique to me.
And it's kind of the clairs, isn't it? Can you sort of run through the different kinds of clairs?
So the way that we receive information is through what we call clairs. So we have clairsentience, which is clear feeling, claircognizance, which is clear knowing.
I've got those first two. I get that.
You're very, very strong with them. Clairvoyance, which is seeing. Clairvoyance is seeing. And clairaudience, which is hearing. There's a couple of other ones, but they're the main ones that we are receiving information through. Great. And so I'm clairsentient first and clairvoyant second.
Right. Amazing. Yeah. Wow.
And so the more that we hear and see and understand how it is for other people, helps everybody else go back and go, oh, this is what it's like for me.
Yes.
And then it normalizes it.
It does normalize it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, 100 years ago, before we had electricity, before we had all these, the internet and washing machines, we were just looking under the stars, stargazing every single night, knowing the constellations in the sky, and knowing when that carrot's going to, the flower's going to bloom. We just knew we were so connected to the earth.
Yeah.
And it's so great to break this down, because I found that before talking to you and doing your course, no one, maybe they are, but no one's teaching anyone without the bullshit how to be your own psychic, how to develop these gifts, because we all have them, and that's so amazing and empowering that if we switch in.
And when we learn it, we can do the same thing. Like sometimes people say things to me, oh, but everything's going fine in your life. Well, things are going fine in my life now.
Yeah. Yeah, ask me tomorrow.
But, you don't want to see where my life was 10 years ago. Yeah. Things weren't so fine. Yes, but I learned to refine and to fine-tune it and to always trust and to always listen. Yeah. And actually, do you know what? I found out something. This is my favorite thing about you, Elly, is that every single time I talk to you, and I always feel like I know you pretty well, but every single time I talk to you, you drop the most hilarious and fascinating thing on me that I'm like, I didn't know you did that. And we were standing just in the hallway at the clinic before, and Elly says, I met the Dalai Lama. I'm like, what? Well, so can you please, the reason I'm bringing this up and making you share your Dalai Lama story, it's really interesting about how you receive information.
Well, the reason why I only drop these stories now and then is because I'm profoundly quite a boring person. I'm an introvert and a super quiet person. So when I drop that story, I'm like, oh yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? So I'm glad that you think it's interesting.
And this is a story that Elly likes to say that she's a boring or quiet person, but you have no idea how many absurd, crazy stories. I'm like, what do you mean you met Elvis Presley? She didn't meet Elvis. But she did meet the Dalai Lama, so please.
Okay. All right. So I was probably about 30 years old, and I decided to go to Dharamsala in India and do a 10-day silent retreat. And it was absolutely amazing. We're learning all about Buddhism and meditating for hours on end per day. We're getting up at 4 o'clock, chanting, humming. It was quite intense. And by the end of the 10 days, I'm only 30 years old. I'm thinking in my head, you know what? I'm kind of sick about people talking about spirituality. Like, you know what I mean? I want to have fun. I want to drink a chai. I want to, it was absolutely amazing, profound. Don't get me wrong. But this was sort of the headspace that I was in. And anyway, so it was the morning that we had finished the course the night before. And one of my friends who I'd made in complete silence, we became best friends. We didn't even speak a word. It was absolutely amazing. She knocked on the door. And she's like, Elly, the Dalai Lama's talking down the road. Like, he's talking at his palace. We've got to go see. And I remember thinking, oh, no. We might have gone out to Kathmandu to a rooftop bar, all of us, like most of us, and had 2 big beers. We hadn't talked for 10 days. So I felt really hungover, I've been eating vegetarian food. I was like, oh my God, please. Like, all I want to do is sleep. I don't care if the Dalai Lama's talking down the road. I don't care if Princess Diana's outside. Like, I don't care. Anyway, lucky for me, she dragged me out of bed. And as we were walking down the street towards the Dalai Lama's palace, there was thousands of monks, chanting and walking to his palace. This was a huge, huge event. So the Dalai Lama often, talks at his palace, but it's really, really fascinating because you've got 10 interpreters on each side. Mm-hmm. The Dalai Lama will be talking about quantum physics, and they all interpret in different language. And then the Dalai Lama gets out of the car, and just remember, I've gone from couldn't give a shit that I'm seeing the Dalai Lama. I see this man, he's like not even frail, but kind of like on this walking stick, and from out of nowhere, I had pure electricity shoot down into the top of my head, out of the bottom of my feet. And it was so profound that I started laughing like a crazy person. I couldn't, I couldn't stop laughing. It was just unbelievable, and the first thought was, this is real. Like, that was one of the most profound things that have ever happened. I literally couldn't give a shit to this is the most profound experience in my life just by seeing the Dalai Lama.
That's amazing.
I knew he was enlightened, and it was just huge. So it was amazing.
Oh, and I needed you to share that story because that's one of the ways that you receive clear, clarity information is that overwhelming because, I also get a similar electricity feeling.
Right.
And that was one of those perfect, this is how I'm receiving messages.
Yes. And so is that part of it too? Like having, obviously your head chakra, like energy just flowing in at rapid speed, your whole body's alive, shooting out the end of your toes?
Not usually that profound.
Oh, right. It might be a bit of an issue if that happens every day. But
that's the thing is it's that crackle. That's how I knew when you said it felt like electricity. I'm like, yes, that's why it was such an interesting story. I mean, apart from the fact that you were, you met the Dalai Lama and you saw him talk, but from the psychic point of view, the way that your body received the information like electricity is so important because that's many people's experiences.
Yes.
But especially it's important for you because you'll find that at other places that you go to a less degree.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love this. We've got to wrap up this amazing chat. This has been such an amazing chat. I feel like we just touched the sides of talking about psychic.
Yeah. We have to go back in again to the psychic deep dive.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to talk about. Thank you, beautiful viewers, for joining us on our third podcast. We love you lots and we can't wait to see you again soon.
All right. Thanks so much for tuning in with us and we'll see you soon.
Bye.